Hey Dion, I'm doing a video here if you can hear me alright. I'm still stuck in the Lakeview unit in Naas County Kildare where I think I'm a psychiatric patient that's subversive towards their methods in a sense of healing something called schizophrenia. The reason I say healing is because there's actually no connotation behind any assertion in the sense that it stands towards an idea that is a fixated one. Thus there could be no healing toward it unless the actual phenomenon of it goes away apparently, but nobody can explain what the phenomenon is. Apparently it's beyond my perception and it's in me at the same time. And it's a real phenomenon for other people to accuse me of insanity or to accuse me of being mentally unstable when some fixed idea in someone's mind that contrives reality in of itself, where I could feel very clear and concise and calm. Admitting I just shouted at a young lady not for smoking in the room there, smoking in the room here every day. Because at the night time they lock up the back door. I insist on claiming my freedom because of inherent right to liberty. When that's at stake, when it's being main held, I have to work on other fashions to make sure I feel free within myself, so I don't let other forms of agitation get to me. I don't say I smoke in that room every single night, just sit in the bed, or sometimes I sit at the window, I smoke at the window. I don't consider the hospital because it's like a detention centre, but at the same time, they haven't really formally charged me with any crimes because they can't, because I'm not a criminal. But at the same time, they expect you to put underneath for their sake, for other people's sake, or for whatever sake it is that they can't explain. I'm waiting for the explanation to come. It feels very real for me that some people are trying to cause me harm intended, as much harm as possible. I know whether it's gambling addiction. I don't know whether it's just forsakenness or bravenness or cheekiness. I don't know what's come back to haunt me. Stuff is haunting me in its own way, where it is, my inherent innate right to freedom is not being respected, or liberty as pronounced in the Constitution is not being respected. An inalienable inherent right is being negated to cure me of a disease called schizophrenia, a disease. If anybody was ever studied quantum physics, you understand you create your own reality. That means you define the postponement of what's around you. If anybody studies molecular biology, you understand the molecular cells are what we're composed of, tens of trillions, not billions of them. If you understand, you define some of these atoms in a certain fashion, in a certain way, they become the atom at the molecular level. These are very simple terms for me to understand that the research and the understood I need. I didn't need to go very far to understand these type of facts of life. So there are grudge people have against you, come out with it. Just come out with it, because I'm being brave enough to put these up and say, why don't you come out with it? Why aren't you cowardly enough in their own way, like the cowardly lion or like the Wizard of Oz? Am I expecting some magical man to put a curtain behind and say sorry for all this? I don't get an apology for some rule in my life with what I've lost my whole summer this year. You know, I don't get an apology. I'm expected to put up with this day and night, which is just hardship. And why people throw hardship out if they're not going to get it back? So I wonder why they're not getting it back, or is it some tool and throwing game that people want to play? I don't fancy playing games. I'm not in the mood for playing games. Things that resolve peacefully and resolutely would also make the effort. I'm one of those people as far as I'm concerned, and I don't see why it's going so hard on me. I believe I'm very decent, genuine and open. I don't mind talking to anybody about anything, despite the infringement and the restrictions that go in the times where you can't speak about what you want to speak about. That's a hard place to come from, because I wasn't there before I was ever section. I'm a completely open human being, no one in a heavenly state. Most people smoking cannabis, which they also think I'm not worthy of in their own way, because they won't accept that cannabis feels better than the so-called psychiatric medications. I don't know what to do to you. They make it clear to some degree, but it's a very violent manner that they do it in, because it's forced in your neck as some sort of arbitrary, as some concise truth, which I think is arbitrary and arbitrary. And it might sound clear here, but some days I get very irate, but not the fact that they're trying to erode my rights, and my rights are being eroded, and people need to be careful right now if watching this video that the rights are being eroded in my life if no one else's, but certainly in my life, and that's a warning that I might come to other people. And rights are what we stand up for in this world, in case you haven't noticed. It's happened time and time again through every war, thoughts and rights, inhumane principles and inhumane clauses in their own way. So I fear that anything could happen in these situations. The rights are being eroded. People want the law of the jungle, apparently, is what Bill Clinton or George Bush called it one time. If it's not the law of the rule of the land, it's the rule of the jungle. Something like that. And he's discussing the notion in the New World Order and all this, but I'm not going into conspiracy theory type stuff. It's not the time, nor the day. The point is, life is tough as it is without people making it worse. So I wonder why the people have such an agenda to piss all over people, basically. And sit in little pivoty positions where you can write a note to have me sectioned. Your little handwriting can have me put right for 15 or 16 weeks. And who do you think you are to do that when I've an inherent right to liberty in this land? Especially for foreign national, no offence, because you're being housed in our land. That's what I want to stress. Would you think we're a lower race, we're lower species or something like that? 'Cause that's how it comes across to me. But you're being homed in Ireland if you're a foreigner. And also the doctors here, I think they're very respectful people in their own way, but if they keep making money off me, I've no subscription, no desire to go along with, and no respect for making money off making me more unhealthy by the day. That's why I despise this place deep down. I haven't slept again tonight. It's now, on there for a second, pause this, 5:15 in the morning. And this is another night going by where I don't sleep. I don't know who else to keep up. But it's not fair to other so-called patients that they have to put me here. That's why I wish they'd just send me home and let them away. I don't see what the big issue with that is. It's been 15 weeks in here now, we haven't let go home. And I'm wondering what, I'm still asking for the challenge to be met. What is the illness? Schizophrenia, I understand you think it's hallucinations, hearing thoughts. And what's the other one again? Delusions. And I'm wondering what's wrong with having any of these things in a completely natural, pure, healthy state, which is impossible not to have in its own way. Wherever you go and whatever you do, a completely healthy, natural state. If people go and consume alcohol or cocaine or other forms of drugs, you can see their state ramble. I do not do that. I'm not a convicted criminal. I have no taken substances in 2 years. My last bit of substance I consumed was cannabis. I don't even drink. I have a very clean, healthy lifestyle. His wife is so irritable, treat me like I'm unremarkable. And it's not that I think I'm remarkable. I'm saying that life is remarkable, but you're degrading in your own way because I am an expression of that very life that is everywhere, in everything, in every atom, so to speak. And that's why I find it such a remusable thing to go through, where it's amusable for some, reusable for others, and remakeable for the most part for those which you pick up the pieces, which is for the most part. And I think in that sense it's sick to bring for one or the few or the many to bring down the collective, to bring it down to the standards I wish not to meet. Or I try to hold myself in high esteem in relation to how I articulate myself and speak about myself, and try to hold others in high regard by being generous and forgiving, whatever else it is. This is what I am. I can't help you, I know what I am, but I don't believe in schizophrenic. And I'm wondering can anyone divulge the notion of research who invented the word schizophrenia? Was it their own experiment that they invented it? Was it their own entitlement that they realised they had it themselves? Or was it some external divulgence that they thought, I'll concede upon the earth this notion to see who falls for it, see who falls into the trap of it? Because that's what it feels like to me. Someone set out a big trap about 400 years ago and they invent these notions. They expect everyone to be hemmed underneath when he challenged the boundary of the status quo. Because the DSM itself, the Diagnostic Statistics Manual of Psychiatry, says that challenging authority is a problem apparently. Challenging authority, maybe it needs to be challenged when it's wrong. And that's what I'm going to say out right now. Clear, you take my freedom, it's wrong, without any true justification for it. I don't see how this is justified. That's why I'm putting it on my Facebook as well. And I'm going to keep posting videos the time I'm in here, so people can hear me loud and clear I feel I am, relative I believe I am to the world. And in the sense of being a part of it, you can't take that easy, because something's provided me with life that's beyond any human being. And it's either God or the presence of that will be grace. And I can't say for sure whether there's a God ever strong as the universe was created. That's an obvious point to make, and I think some point of coercion or the melding fractation doesn't happen. You know, there's nothing makes sense. We're not living in chaos. We're living in order. So what does that sensation say to you? That something maintains order. What is that force? It's consciousness. Where is this just everywhere that we've ever been? Other than that, it couldn't exist in the first place. So I'm saying you're unmaking me every day by making me into this virile animal which shouts and screams at the middle of the night at 5 o'clock and having a cigarette, which is what I do at home regardless. So I'm entitled to allow freedom as far as I'm concerned. You know? And you're thinking of charging me a $3,000 fine for smoking in the hospital. I can't afford it, nor do I plan to pay for it. But you keep planning to take my freedom, I plan on suing you. And that's I've already gone to a few solicitors with, and I hope to get back to in this case, because it's making my life miserable. And I was declared mentally stable before ever being institutionalised the first time, where I felt kidnapped and in prison and detained. You know? And it's not a pleasant thing to go to. Put yourself in my shoes for a minute and realise 9 years of my life has gone by with an undercurrent or a concurrent in my mind, which is non-heavenly status, which is someone's rebuke coming against you, but can you explain formally? Can you have the courage to explain formally what your problem is? With your grunty imbecilic accent coming across me tonight when I explained when I went to the Critical Voices Network website on Facebook and said, who cares who hears voices and what's the difference? What's the big deal about if you hear voices? What is the big deal about it? Why does that have to be such a threatening thing? Because you want to say on top of some conscious realm, some heavenly space on earth. It's not the heavenly, let me let you know. You're quite a degraded being in your own way. And as Dr. Paddy Powell, I wouldn't respond to my email, which I put on my Facebook a while ago as well. and you couldn't even respond to the email and you call yourself a professional. I think you're a joke, a shambles, and a charade. And if anyone's a charlatan, it's you. And psychiatry is the ultimate charlatan. You've good nurses working here, you've good people working here, but those people who think they're in their pivotal positions, who think they can take freedom and take it away from you and stake you at the same time, I think that's a sad, pathetic, demoralising value to have to face in life, which I'd rather not heed to. And I'm saying that loud and clear as Nishan Kelly, you keep it heat, you keep this up, you're going to make your own life worse, because you're going to be my force sooner rather than later. And stronger than you are as far as I'm concerned. That's what I'm going to say for now. But at the same time, all I'm asking is to go home for those who are watching, make a phone call to the hospital every day and ask why I'm here. Keep them quiet until they explain why there's no formal charges, yet they have the right to detain. You ask why the mental health act is a convicted criminal charge, because it's detaining me. Ask why am I being, what is schizophrenia? Who invented it? Why is it such a profuseful term in the sense of being profuse, but animalistic in nature in relation to how it treats human beings, in relation to being thrown into the green room on occasions, or being backsided and injected, or being any informal practice that I feel is inhumane in its own way, or that's more acceptable than me roaming free in my own country, where it's expected and where people would happily have me, or they don't have me fucked them, I don't care about them, because it's not their country, so there's much more into anyone else. It's just as much more into as it is anyone else, you know? And Republicans, we don't really stand for this shit, you know? So I wonder where the true roots for that, and I wish you come clean about it instead of being a cowardly, little vindictive, the big cowardly lion is what I'd call it for now. Good luck.